What's up, bitches? This is Sierra.
And what's up, bitches? This is Morgan.
And this
is Bitches and Murders.
We're on top of that shit.
4 in a row.
That streak's gonna break eventually, and I'm
it's
so heartbroken.
I can't believe it hasn't broken already.
So we do have some housekeeping before we get into this nonsense.
I love housekeeping. Call me a maid.
Super exciting housekeeping because we have Patreonuses.
Patronuses.
Pegasus.
Pegasus.
There's
Penguins?
people giving us money for some reason. So
yeah, big
let's talk
fan of
about
those
them.
people.
So in the Rippers category, we have Kendra Whites. Kendra,
I love you.
bless you. We love you so much.
You're beautiful.
And then in the Manson family, we have Terry Bradford, aka
My
Morgan's
mommy.
mom.
And I love her very much.
We love her so much.
Mother Teresa is amazing.
Oh, Angie's gonna come for you. She's Mother Superior. Just kidding.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say
Yikes.
she's that's just her nickname. It's funny though, because her name is not Teresa. Her name is just Terry.
It's just Terry.
It's Mother Teresa. It makes sense.
Anyway, so those are our two Patronuses. Patroni. I'll figure out a
We'll
plural of that
figure it out.
eventually. And then you have some housekeeping as well.
Yeah. So super exciting. Actually, way more genuinely than my tone sounded, I promise. We teamed up with a company called Never Get Murdered, which
Can we just
great advice.
appreciate that company name for a second? Like, just never get murdered.
Never.
Ever.
Don't do it. Don't fucking do it. So it's nevergetmurdered.com. And they sell a lot of like self-defense type of things. So they sell like emergency whistles, personal alarms.
They have like
hidden
GPSs that you can
knives.
like clip onto your bag.
Yeah, they have like the brass knuckly type of keychains and stuff. It's pretty cool. And also, if you use our code, which is StaySpooky50, you get 50% off of anything, which is just a good fucking deal.
Right?
Way better than most sponsorships. Come on.
50% off to never get murdered.
Yeah. Don't get murdered, guys.
Don't do it. I have to hiccup.
Don't do
No,
it.
I don't. So, are you ready for the nonsense?
I am ready for the nonsense.
All right. The nonsense that I'm giving you today is Friedrich Harman, aka the Butcher of Hanover.
Oh, I feel like I saw that title, but I have no idea who he is or what he did.
If you peeped my notes, we're gonna have issues.
I didn't. I just saw the title, I promise.
All right. I'm trusting you. So, Harman was born on October 25th of 1879 in Hanover, Germany. And he was the
Oh,
young...
Germans. Good luck.
Yeah. Best of luck to you, honestly. He was the youngest of 6, and he grew up in a poor family. Lacey. And as a child
Is it 2002?
No. I just told you it was 1879.
I mean, that Reddit reference, that was a couple of decades old. Anyways, continue.
Too early for us to be becoming unglued. So he was described as quiet, and I hate this descriptor so much, and you'll see why in a second. He was described as preferring girl activity. So like he preferred playing with his sisters and their toys over doing like boy stuff.
So like dolls over footballs. That kind of
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Not that there was footballs back then, but
Because fuck your gender norms, 1879.
fuck you, 1879.
But that's kind of it for, I mean, not it. I have more for his early life, but like his family was pretty chill. There's no abuse. There's no sexual nonsense.
They're just poor
He just was really poor.
and like girly things.
Yeah.
Which is totally okay. Not in 1879, but
Right. So when he was 16, he, did the only natural thing, which was enrolled in a military academy.
of course, only
and
option.
He actually did really, really well in the military academy, but after a year, he began to suffer from seizures, which I'm going to guess is epilepsy, ?
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty normal for that to present later in life, not as a child.
Exactly. And this is when things get a little twisted. So this is 1898, and he was arrested for molesting children.
Gross.
However, he was declared mentally unfit to stand trial and was sent to a mental institution indefinitely.
That's really interesting for like a I've only heard of that when they're like murdering someone or like they like assaulted someone. I don't think I've ever heard that. I mean, I guess molesting children is technically like assaulting them, but I've only ever heard that in like murder trials.
Right, yeah, so that kind of got
That's also kind of terrifying. They can just be like, you're just gonna go away
to a mental institution
infinitely. We
indefinitely.
don't really know.
We got nothing for you. So he was there for 6 months before he escaped and fled to Switzerland.
That's impressive.
He lived there for 2 years and then returned to Germany. Upon his return, he re-enlisted in the military under an alias. In 1902, he was medically discharged again, but he was awarded full military pension this time. And he lived with his family and worked at a small business that his dad owned. So, like, really, we're not doing
pretty
terrible. Yeah,
pretty average.
There was some like child molestation in there.
There's
But,
a little sprinkle of child molestation, but like
sprinkle.
it's normal.
So this is kind of when things start to go downhill. So he had a violent altercation with his father, and he was arrested and charged with assault. This time he was deemed fit to stand trial,
They're like, yeah, we know you were crazy before. Like, you're fine now.
But-
You're fine.
but instead of, I don't know, going to prison for assaulting your father, they were just like, go live with your family.
I mean, I guess you could just like, I don't know. I mean, like, you could go to like prison or something. But I mean, like, you could just like go home.
Just go live with your parents.
Just like go away.
So he went back and lived with his parents and tried to start his own business, which I know you're going to be so shocked by this, but it failed.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Who would have guessed?
Color me surprised. So about a
About a deck?
For about a decade, Harmon lived as a petty thief, burglar, con man. Because of this, he was arrested multiple times and spent
I want
the
that to be
years
my career.
like, in and out of prison. But this ended up playing in his favor because he established a relationship with the Hanover police as an informer.
Oh, so he was working as like an informant.
So
I'm just like imagining his resume. It's like military service, cigar factory, thief, robber. Like he just applies for a new job, but that's just like his whole resume.
and then police informant.
Police informant.
That's fine. So then in 1914, he was in prison again for theft and fraud. In 1918,
Surprise.
he was released. And because of the war, you know, Germany was pretty poverty stricken, which created a large criminal network, which
Doesn't surprise me.
the Hanover police heavily relied on Harmon as their informer at this point because he's in this criminal network. He's got all of the connections.
I feel like it's always bad when the police have to like, they're like, we're relying on our informant. Like they're getting all their information from one informant. I feel like that never ends well.
I don't know what you're talking about. I see no way that this could fail.
There is nothing that could possibly go wrong here.
No way this could possibly go wrong. So, 1918, now we're into the real crimes. Because those were all the fake crimes. These are the real crimes.
It's like I don't remember who it was.
Literally
the other
anybody we
day.
talked about.
It's like, I mean, I know he just raped like 12 children, but like that's not the real crime.
Now we're into the real crimes. So, from 1918 to 1924, Harmon committed at least 24 murders. His first
A1.
His first known victim was 17-year-old Friedel Roth. His friends told police that they last saw him with Harmon, and police were hesitant to investigate because, like, that's their boy.
That's my boy.
But
I'm so sorry.
No, you're not. But Roth's family, like, put a lot of pressure onto the police, and they were like, okay, fine, we'll search his apartment. So when they searched his apartment, they didn't find Roth, but they did find a semi-naked teenage boy tied to his bed. So the police had to charge him with something. So he was charged with sexual assault, and he served 9 goddamn months for it.
Yeah, I mean, I want this guy's like
9 months.
He's really in and out of these places.
Seriously, though. Ugh, yikes. So after his release, he, you know, shocker, went to the same lifestyle he was living before
Wow, surprise.
and was still acting as an informant for the police.
That's their boy.
It's their boy. I hate us so much.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because of the time period, there's not a whole lot of documentation. I do have
Right,
a
because we're
list.
probably into, what, early 1900s now?
Early 1900s. I do have a list of all of the known victims. I'm not going to take the time to read 24 German names because I don't speak German.
We'll put them on the Patreon.
It's not happening.
They'll be on Patreon.
But I do have a victim profile for you. So his known victims ranged in age from 11 to 22 years old. Most were commuters, runaways, and the occasional male prostitute.
Of course.
Occasional.
Just gotta sprinkle them in there. Give it a little bit of flavor.
Give a little something, something.
A little something.
So what he would do is that he would lure these boys/young men back to his apartment where he would rape, sodomize, and then kill them by biting through their throats.
I don't.
I'm sorry, do you need me to repeat that? I don't feel like you're quite processing what I just said. Here,
I'm just like
I'll say
imagining what that would feel like.
I'll
and
say
it's
it again
just
for you.
the worst thing in the world.
So his MO was that he would lure these people back to, I'm sorry, not people, boys and young men, and I'll tell you why in a second, back to his apartment where he would rape, sodomize,
I mean,
and then kill them by biting through their throats.
I just like that. That takes so much force.
Right.
Like that would be hard.
There's so
Like
many
really hard.
additional questions that I have, and I want absolutely none of them answered.
I need photos. I need.
Okay,
I
well,
need
it's the
so
early
much.
1900s. So I don't have any photos for you.
I don't understand. I need a ballistic steel dummy. Like I wanna know how
mean-
hard would that be?
In theory, I guess it would make sense if you go for like the front of the throat and like rip out the trachea and like maybe get the jugular vein or the carotid artery.
Honestly, I feel like it'd probably be like you crush it first, and
Yeah.
then like after they're dead, you keep going. Because I don't think anyone in one bite is strong enough to like.
I mean, no matter
Rip
what, that's
out.
a super metal way to kill somebody.
It's amazing. That's why I need to know every detail.
So, once he was done biting through their throats, he would then dismember the
casual.
bodies and dispose of them in the river Lean. I think that's how that's pronounced.
Of course. I also love rivers of lean.
I hate you. The possessions of the boys were then sold in black markets or, plot twist, kept by Harmon's partner, Hans Grans. I wish you guys could see Morgan's face right now.
I have never loved anything more. I know what I'm naming my firstborn child.
I swear to God, if you name your child Hans Grans.
I am absolutely naming my child Hans Grans. I don't even care if it's a girl.
That's the full name, by the way. Like Hans space Grans. Like this is not one word.
They don't even
Hans
need my
Grans.
last name. I'm gonna pick a last name for them.
So I don't know if you can gather from that name, but that is a male.
Yeah, I figured.
So the plot twist is that Harmon was gay.
Wow, who would have guessed since he only raped and murdered young boys?
But he didn't like it wasn't okay to be gay back then.
1900s motto,
So-
not okay to be gay.
For whatever reason, he was cool with like his partner, but he would go to like these public places where he would find like these runaways or whatever.
Right.
And if like you flirt with him, he would like lead you back to his apartment
And murder you.
and then murder you for being gay. But like, home dude, you're gay.
I mean, that is basically all homophobes are either, if they're not strictly religious, or also religion, because sometimes playing a part in it anyways, it's a lot of them are questioning their own
yeah.
sexuality. But you know, that's not how to do it. Just kiss a boy. If you like it, cool. If you don't like it,
Kiss the boy.
cool.
I liked it.
Move on.
So yeah, we'll circle back to the psychology on that because I'm sure you have all sorts of thoughts.
Yeah.
But before we do that, I'll tell you how he gets discovered. So
Good stuff.
in May and June of 1924, there's children playing along the banks of this river because, it's May, it's June, it's warm. You
It's a
can
river.
play in the river. And they found some bones.
My favorite thing to find as a child.
And luckily, these
These
children have the wherewithal to tell the police that they found some bones. And
I probably would have just taken them home as a child. I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, I should tell police about this. I'd be like, Mom, do you see this sweet
cool,
shit I
look
found?
at this bone that I found. So they told the police, and the police decided to drag the river and discovered more than 500 human bones, which were later confirmed as having come from 22 different people.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's pretty. What a shitty job. Especially back in the early 1900s when they had like such little.
I was gonna say, could you imagine? This is 1924. There's no technology for this.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. Like, can you imagine someone's like, hey, medical examiner, and you're like, hey, do we have a dead body? And they're like, no, we have 500. Tell me who murdered every single one of them. And you're like, I quit.
Like, well, even before that, could you imagine being the people having to drag the river? Like this, what I am picturing
Like
in my
literally just
head
like probably fucking
is
nuts,
just
right?
a ton of people that kind of look like Charles, but with like Hitler stashes and like and waiters
Oh,
just
they are in
walking
Germany.
through the river.
I was like, why would they have Hitler stash?
Because it's 1924 Germany. That's where my brain's at.
Yeah, that's slightly before Hitler, but we're pretty close.
Like that's what I'm just picturing a ton of men that look like Charles.
Oh my god.
And waiters just walking through this river like, oh, I found another bone, put it in my bag.
Putting my toes away so the wild raccoon wandering the floor stops licking them.
If there's any random squealing, it's because the raccoon licked my toes.
Yeah, he just grabs them with both of his hands, and it's the most horrifying feeling.
So scary. Anyway, so strangely enough, finding 500 human bones in a river is going to alert the police. So they opened an investigation. Crazy how that works. And do you want to know who they talked to? Their informer.
Harmon. That's such a fun name to say.
They didn't catch him until June 22nd of 1924. So same year, same month. So he didn't get away with it for too long, but there was a period where he was like, you should check out this random sketchy dude.
And you should check out that random sketchy dude.
And then
Not
it
me,
wouldn't
though.
pan out. So on June 22nd, they marked him as a person of interest due to his history of child molestation.
Right.
Somebody's freaking bell finally went off. And police placed him under surveillance. And he was arrested after trying to lure a boy back to his apartment.
Every single time, like I swear to God, like every time they're like, oh man, I've been questioned by the police in direct connection to this. I should probably just murder more people. Because they all, like half of them I feel like get caught either like stalking or like trying to abduct someone. So maybe just take a fucking break,
You
guys.
have to remember too, serial killers have that whole narcissistic personality disorder.
But just like hop over a town for a minute.
Especially if you're in a position where you're a police informer, you're not going to think you're going to get caught. You're going to be like, oh yeah, I'll just keep pointing to these random sketchy dudes and they're never going to catch me. So yeah, after they caught him trying to lure the boy back to his apartment, they decided that maybe they should search the place.
Right.
And found that the walls were heavily bloodstained. And I will circle back to this because you're going to love how he tried to talk himself out of this.
I love it already.
They also found multiple personal items from several missing persons. And they were like, we're going to arrest you. Because you have blood all over your walls. And you have
everything.
Possessions of missing people. So,
God, what an idiot.
Back to the blood on the walls. Are you ready for how he tried to, like, explain this away?
Yes.
So, Harmon looked at the police and said, that's not human blood. That's just a byproduct of my illegal trade as a butcher. Dude, what?
You know my favorite way to get out of crimes? Telling the police that I've committed other crimes.
Oh my God. So,
I'm
not even ready to move on. So during the interrogation, Harmon confessed to the rape, murder, and butchering of 50 to 70 boys. However, the term serial killer had not been established yet in Germany. And
Yeah,
they
that's
were
really
like,
ugly.
there's no way in fuck hell that you killed 50 to 70 people. So we're only going to charge you with 27.
I mean, if you can kill 27, why couldn't you kill 50?
Well, in all fairness, they were only able to connect him to 27. Even though he like completely admitted to the 50 to 70 others. They were like, well, we can only connect you to these 27. And there's no way you killed 70 people. So how about you just go with 27?
I feel like 27 is high enough to be like, yeah. I mean, I believe you probably killed more than that.
Maybe you should take him seriously. I don't know. Anyway, so the media, ran with this because again, serial killers had not quite been established in Germany.
Yeah, so super sensationalized, I'm sure.
Balls. And the media started referring to him as werewolf, vampire, and the Wolfman.
Oh my God, they do that all the time.
Every time.
They did that with Chikatilo. They were like...
Chikatilo?
Yeah. I mean, it has an L in it. I realized that I was totally saying it wrong. It's fine. I just did a whole episode saying it wrong. Don't hate me. Side note, I actually found the video of him in court.
Sorry, I just got attacked.
Yeah, I found the video in court where he took his pants off in court.
Shut up.
I did. I mean, it's censored, obviously, but
anyway,
it's really funny because he did it and he just started yelling, "This doesn't work." So I was like, classic.
Oh my God.
But they also thought that there was just werewolves loose.
Yeah.
That was the whole point of this conversation.
Eastern Europe / part of Asia, because I think Russia is considered Eastern Europe / Asia.
Yeah, stop thinking it's werewolves.
Calling your serial killers werewolves.
They're not werewolves. This has nothing to do with werewolves.
So, on December 4th of 1924, Harmon's trial began, and it became a spectacular, because it was the first case of its kind in Germany.
Oh, I'm sure it was huge.
Oh, yeah. There was so much media coverage. Everybody was, I mean, obviously from, him getting dubbed the Wolfman.
Right. Everyone wants to see him, I'm sure.
The trial lasted for 2 weeks, and on December 19th, he was found guilty of 24 of the 27 murder charges. Actually, scratch that. He was found guilty of all 27, oh God, what's the word I'm looking for? Appealed?
Yeah,
3 of them?
Yeah.
But
and then they got like acquitted.
Yeah, acquitted. That was the word I was looking for. So he was only officially guilty of 24 of the 27. And he was sentenced to death.
Of course.
Are you ready for the super metal way that he was sentenced to death?
Yes. Sorry, I'm just trying to imagine what it could be. Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. So remember, December 19th of 24 is when he was convicted.
So it's like in World War I.
April 25th of 1925 is when they executed him.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm
You're not
ready.
April 25th of 1925, he was executed by a guillotine.
That is everything I could have ever wanted and more. That is the best thing that's ever happened.
That is the most metal execution I've ever heard
I am
of.
always petitioning to bring back the guillotine.
No!
I'm the only one, but
No.
man, so much cooler.
It's so metal.
So much cooler than hanging someone. So much cooler than a shooting squad. And faster.
I just didn't realize that we were still using the guillotine in 1925. That feels a little late.
That's like that. Yeah, that's like the end of World War One. Like, they just didn't have any bullets to spare. They were like, well, yeah, we can't do a shooting squad. We're like fighting a war right now. Just get the old fucking guillotine. Just use that shit. We haven't used it in a while.
Look, we've got budget cuts.
We can't waste rope. We can't waste bullets. Just go get that thing.
We can't waste the brass, so just stick your head in there.
Just.
Oh, yikes.
I love it. Almost as much as Hans Grans.
speaking of Hans Grans, do you want to know what happened to him?
Yes, I do.
All right, perfect. So he was originally found guilty of enticement to murder and sentenced to death.
So is that like the old like aiding and abetting?
Yeah.
Sounds like.
Yeah, because okay, so I haven't mentioned this yet, but I guess I'll mention it before I keep talking about it. Part of thing was that Hans Grans would see like a ring on somebody and would like kind of scoot over to
Like, oh, I want
like,
that.
babe, I really like his ring. Could you just for me?
I love you, Hans Grans.
Like, instead of, I don't know, going to a jewelry store with your significant other, Hans Grans was just like, I like that man's ring. Could you just murder him so I can have the thing?
Also, could you just like rape him first?
It would,
Like, excuse me, you could have just taken the ring and killed him. You didn't have to do all the extra parts.
so he was found guilty of enticement to murder and sentenced to death. But after a letter from Harmon was found declaring Grans innocent of everything, they were like, we'll give you a second trial. And his second trial, instead of giving him the death sentence, they just charged him with like 12 years in prison. He served his full sentence and then lived in Hanover until 1980 when he died.
You're just like, 12 years. I can do that. Better than death.
Yeah. I'm so mad that
Helped someone murder
it.
so many people.
my toes are being bitten by a raccoon. Hold on.
Isn't it just I had to put my feet up. I couldn't risk it.
This is the scariest thing that has ever happened to me.
I don't think it's as bad when he bites. I think it's worse when he grabs them. That's what gets me.
It just scares me. I'm talking about this really intense stuff, and then out of nowhere, something grabs my toes.
It's like, can you imagine watching a horror movie? just like grabbing your
my
toes.
It just scared the crap out of me. Okay. So he he served a 12-year prison sentence and then was just free to live until when he like naturally passed in 1980. Like, I want to know what happened in those years. Like, did he just find another murderer boyfriend and was like,
He was like, I really like this new Frederick, but he just doesn't murder people like Harmon did. I really miss that guy.
I just want to know so bad. Oh man. So
I just can't even like process that.
I know.
Just, like, I really like that ring. Will you just go kill that person brutally for me?
Could you imagine if you were just like walking in the street and you were like, that girl's skirt, I love her skirt. Babe, could you just kill her for me so I can have the skirt?
It's like weirder because he like raped them.
Yeah.
So it's like, do you want to, like, I know you're my significant other, but do you want to rape that other person and then kill them and then dismember them and then throw them in a river? I just really like their skirt. Please don't get blood on it.
I mean, I'm guessing the rape and sodomize was more Harmon's idea than Hans's idea. But Hans would like pick out people.
But
based
that's what I'm saying.
on
Like, why
their
would you keep
belongings.
encouraging it? He's going to have sex with them.
Because he's got like a sugar daddy.
A murder daddy.
Murdered.
Goals.
Oh my god. So this part I hate too. The remains of all of his victims were buried together in a communal grave.
Fuck you.
Yeah. Like I hate it so much.
I really hate it. I mean, I guess it was like during World War One. Like they probably didn't have a lot of space, a lot of resources, a lot of anything.
I mean, that's a fair point, but
I still hate it. I hate it.
like you threw 500 bones into a hole and called it good.
You're like, yeah, there's just like 500 people here. Like, whatever.
It's fine. So this is my favorite part. As somebody who studies the neurobiology of stress, anxiety, depression, and substance abuse, and like studies brains.
Great.
That was the graceful way I was going to phrase that. After his execution, Harmon's head was preserved in a jar so scientists could examine the structure of his brain, and they still have it at the Göttingen Medical School, a medical school in Germany.
So now I know where I need to visit.
Right. I'm like, can I just see that brain, please?
I study
And thank you.
fMRI activity of brains. That qualifies me to go see serial killer's brain, right?
I mean, I also just appreciate the foresight there of like keeping his brain in a jar so scientists could look at it. I see you. Don't touch my toes.
We're like, we're probably going to want that later.
Yeah.
Just keep it.
I love it so much. So yeah, that is the fucking yikes roller coaster of Friedrich Harmon.
I loved so much of that.
It's a roller coaster, honestly. Like, I was doing research. I'm like, oh, wow, this can't get any more fucked up than this. Nope, there it goes.
Oh,
it got worse.
There it continues. It's not over.
Onward it goes.
I think after this, I'm going to go to Walmart and buy a fish and name him Hans Grans.
I was so worried about where that was going.
I just need to own something named Hans Grans.
Formal petition to rename your cat Hans Grans.
I know we used to call you Apollo. You're Hans Grans now.
But yeah, so now that I'm done, I'll let you circle back to the psychology of being gay and targeting gay people.
Oh, it's a mess. I've noticed that it's only pretty much almost exclusively a man thing. Very few females ever really like seem to have this issue. Even like females who do struggle with their sexuality tend to like express it in different ways. But a lot of men, I mean, I think it's really just rooted in like society.
Yeah.
Like especially back then, like it was not okay to be gay. It was seen like it's not okay to be feminine, like you said earlier. Like it's not okay to express in any way that you are a woman or you are weak. Heavy sarcasm.
Heavy sarcasm.
But it is strange that I don't know. I thought that was kind of strange in like a couple of ways. First of all, most people who are pedophiles are like only pedophiles. Like it's pretty rare that someone engages in pedophilia but would also target older kids. Like it's weird that he would molest children but then also go for like 17, 18-year-olds, young men. Like that's very abnormal.
Yeah, he had like a 10-ish year age range. His youngest victim was 11 and his oldest was 22.
See, that's like really bizarre because that's like, yeah, because most people who go for like pedophilia, who like kids as young as like 11 would not be interested in someone who's 21, 22. Like they're an adult. I thought that was really strange.
Maybe he just wanted some extra credit.
It's also bizarre. I mean, a lot of violence comes, like I said, like from people who have, I don't even want to say necessarily like gay, but like even like bi tendencies that don't want to like face up to their own sexuality. So they project it on others and persecute them. And a lot of times it's like a jealousy
male partner,
thing.
though.
Yeah, but that's
Like,
what I was getting at. That's really bizarre.
Yeah. He like doesn't fit the normal box that usually goes into.
Yeah, because it usually has to do with more of like a jealousy thing. Like jealousy that they can live freely, but you don't have that freedom. But like that doesn't apply because you were living with a partner. Like you already had that freedom to like express yourself. Like you were.
Yeah.
Living
Yeah, it's so weird.
as that. Yeah, that's like really bizarre. I'm wondering how much I almost said Harmon, but I wonder how much Hans really had to like do with it. Because really, like, if he was just killing on his own, like it just doesn't make sense. But if it was I mean, obviously it was motivated by Hans in a bit that he was like, oh, I want this or I want that. But like,
I think he probably had a lot more to do with it
than it's admitting.
Because remember, they originally charged him and like sentenced him to death, but then they found the letter from Harmon that was like, oh no, he's totally innocent in all of this. And they were like, yeah, we'll take your word for that. And then gave him 12 years in prison instead.
What I kind of have a feeling, this is just me spitballing off of like the very little bit that I know, but like, I kind of have a feeling the victims that were on the lower range probably were more Harmon's choice. And then the people who were on the higher age range were more people that Harmon was like, I either want something from them, because what is he going to want from like a 12-year-old kid?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's either like I want something for them, or I can also see it being kind of like a sexual, because like the toy box killer, like other killers have like gone in tandem with like their significant others.
True.
That there's like you know, he might want something, but like he also wants to take part in the killing act itself, or like the scaring. Like with the
Yeah,
toy box
like,
killer, his wife was there the whole time.
Yeah, like I was gonna say David Parker Ray and Cindy Hindi, but also
Yeah, because usually the couples partake in the sex and abuse, but then the killing is usually
the
the male.
male. Yeah,
So I could see him being, well, I mean, they're both males, but like I could see him being not just for the stuff, but also interested in like the sex and like the torture part of it. And then
Yeah.
the killing is kind of like, yeah, you know, do your thing.
this feels more like Carla Homolka and
Paul.
Is that?
Yeah.
God, I can't remember his name right now. But yeah, the
Yeah, whatever.
Ken
his
and
last
Barbie
name.
killers, whatever they were in
Yeah,
Canada.
it seems really similar. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like he probably had way more to do with it because that just doesn't make sense. Like people don't, his pattern just doesn't make sense.
Well, and also too, like, if he wasn't that involved, why did you feel compelled to write a whole ass letter?
Yeah,
to
because if he
clear
was,
him,
yeah, if he genuinely wasn't involved, like you wouldn't need to write a letter. You'd just be like, yeah, he wasn't involved. Like
yeah,
it's gonna be easy to tell. I'm calling bullshit.
damn it, we need to get that like bullshit. Okay.
Bullshit.
Bullshit. Yeah, so that's Frederick Harmon.
I kind of forgot that he had a first name. To be honest, I just keep
I know, I
thinking
kept
his name
calling
is
him Harmon.
Harmon. I forgot that that was not his first name.
Because I didn't want to say Friedrich 30,000 times because I knew I was just going to screw it
Yeah,
up
no,
at
I
some
would have
point.
hated that. I'm really glad you didn't do that.
Thanks for encouraging my choices.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
And that's
I'm going to
follow us on
wrap this up in a little bow.
all the shit.
Yeah, all of the social media. So Facebook is Bitches and Murders Podcast
And so is Patreon
and Patreon.
and YouTube and Spotify and Apple Podcasts and everything.
Except for Twitter, because that one's and murders, because Twitter doesn't like swear words.
Yeah, and then Instagram is Bitches and Murders Podcast with an @ sign in front of that.
Email us at bandmurderspodcast.
Email us.
Yeah, give us cases.
Give me things. Talk to me.
Don't give Morgan things. She has like 9 things already lined up. Give me things.
Yeah, I do have 9 episodes ready.
Yeah. Follow us on YouNow because we live stream while we record if you're too impatient to wait until we release these on Mondays.
Exactly. And also, we added some stuff to our Patreon, and I will keep adding things, including in the upcoming weeks, a couple of mini episodes that really are just about stuff that I don't feel like making a whole episode about.
Yeah, like our victims list that just is more time than it's worth.
Yeah. Or like, I have another victims list, but it's like really long, and I'm going to have to go into everybody who like died and like how they died briefly. And like, I'm not doing that in a whole episode. So you
Yeah.
just get a mini episode.
You can also peep Morgan's beautiful drawings from the first episode.
Honestly, I'm going to win an award. So you better check it out now before I'm absolutely famous. Before it's in the MoMA.
Yeah, join the ranks of Kendra and Terry.
Join them.
Join them. One of us.
One of us.
All right, but so stay spooky, bitches, but not so spooky that you have a murder daddy.
Yeah,
Like, not that spooky. That's too much.
Yeah, don't get a murder daddy. Stick to a sugar daddy like the rest of us.
Also, not so spooky that you're like biting people's throats out.
Yeah,
Can we
I almost
circle back
forgot
to
about
for
that.
a
Yeah,
second?
please don't be that spooky. I need you to dial back the spook.
Not that spooky.
Not that spooky. All right, stay spooky.